All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're going to get back to the news. Obviously, there's the Graham Plattner interview that took place. Ested is on with K-File. Piker turns on Plattner, says he believes sexual assault accuser and predicts curtains for campaign. This kind of stuff makes me feel like this is a little bit of a rat fuck, but it's not. It's not. It's a real accusation. Like, it's not, but it's just like, it's a real accusation, but they are really using it. You know what I mean? Which is fair because it's a real fucking accusation. But like, holy shit, why are they like, what is this? Like, this is new. You know what I mean? This level of like immediate coverage. Like this level of immediate coverage to be like, see, everyone's doing it. He needs to leave immediately, which I agree with, but also at the same time, it's like kind of strange. Like, why the fuck would you focus on me on this issue? Like, look, Fox News is our enemy, right? So we have to ask ourselves, why is our enemy writing this? Do you know what I mean? Like, why do they care about the internal machinations of a Senate run? What is this? If you've lost Hassan Piker, oh my God. What? These people have such a fucking unbelievably stupid opinion of someone like myself. They just, like, they live in a totally separate planet, I think. The way Fox covers you, you'd expect a headline about you turning on a candidate to be a puff piece? Anyway, there's Plattner's accuser was on CNN. We'll take a look at the clips.
Coming forward. We're gonna.
Let's take a look.
You're not coming forward because you have any political motivation.
No, not at all. That was actually one of the huge reasons that I didn't come forward and still struggled. Like, that was a huge moral conflict to feel like.
Because you'd like a Democrat to be in the Senate.
Yeah. I like the things that he speaks about. They're important. They're important to people. I'm one of those people.
But at the end of the day, you feel he's not being honest.
That's crazy that they unironically. I cannot believe that the RNC sincerely posted this, by the way. It goes to show they have no interest in the truth in any way, shape, or form. Democratic spokesman, which I'm not, what the fuck? Hassan Piker has endorsed Janet Mills in the main Senate race. Like, what part of this is even real? Except for the fact that I'm Pills Mafia till the bitter end. Oh, Pills Mills, baby. Pills Mafia till I die, till the bitter end. What gives? The DSCC will not invest in the main Senate race if Plattner remains on the ballot. Yeah. It's kind of strange because it's like, on the one hand, it's valid, but also on the other hand, it's like they were so excited at the prospect of this happening. You know what I mean? So Plattner drops out and we get a shit senator. I mean, Plattner stays in and we get a shit senator too. I dream of gaming every night. Every single night I fight for a gaming Gamba Souls-like stream. The Hutch curse remains undefeated. That's crazy. I mean, like, I just don't know. I don't know what to do here. You know what I mean? Like my conscience is obviously saying like it's over, right? But also at the same time, it's like the fucking Republican Party is going to get away with this. Like, how is this possible? How is this fucking possible? Grant Plattner can be replaced on the ballot if he withdraws in the next week. If he does, Maine Democrats would face an uncertain 2-week race to choose a replacement. God, we have to push for the Troy Jackson guy, former president of the Maine Senate. Ms. Mills is seen as less likely to be selected. She did not respond to messages. Troy Jackson is DSA, Bernie endorsed. It's got to be him, right? Yeah, why would Plattner seek public office knowing reporters are going to be everywhere and this crazy stuff's going to come out? Your buddies from high school, dudes you were with in the war, your exes, reporters are going to be hitting them up, or they're going to be hitting reporters up. You really thought they wouldn't find out that you're a drunk? They can't keep your hands to yourself? Arrogant, stupid fool. Yeah. Lamau, no. Mills is going to get it. Come on. No good outcomes here. Yinzer? I hope not. I got another plan besides Troy Jackson. Miss Rachel? Okay, guys, let's be fucking serious, please. Like, cool, you seriously wounded one of your best chances to unseat a GOP senator, humiliated your wife and family, and made yourself a pariah, and for what? Just totally impossible for me to understand that kind of mentality. I mean, I don't know if it's narcissism. Like, I don't know what the fuck it is. Trump has multiple sexual assault allegations and a rapist. The RNC doesn't give a fuck. One party is okay with rape. Yes. And I think that's definitely something that we should be consistently talking about. We should consistently hammer that point over and over again. It's not even about like moral consistency, intellectual honesty. Nobody gives a shit about that. Obviously, it's politics, baby. No one cares about it, right? So from my perspective, I think like we should always reassert, regardless of where this goes, we should always remind people that like Trump has fucking multiple credible rape accusations. He's gotten destroyed in the court. He's dropping out. Yeah, this is Washington Reporter. I don't know how valid this is, but I suspect he will drop out. Are the main voters under the comments section? The establishment is threatened. Good, we're on the right path. It's a bit weird, the timing of this. APAC sounds like she just got hired. Sounds like a coordinated smear campaign. Oh my God. This is the real truc. It feels, I mean, it's too, here's the thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it's impossible. It doesn't matter. Even if the main voter, even if a fuck ton of main voters were like, nah, I'm still riding with him, it wouldn't matter. Because it's over. There's no way out of that. Bro, they're cooking you on left Twitter. Brother, I need you to understand something seriously. Okay? 11 hammer and sickle accounts that are not even in the United States of America have no understanding. I'm on your side. It doesn't matter. Just stop even mentioning it. Stop looking at it. Stop mentioning it. These are bad empanada acolytes. Okay? Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck what they have to say? Who cares? Who cares? And now I suspect they are already joining forces with Epstein as well. I don't like when you yell at Chad. You could have said that nicer. I'm going to try really hard not to be mean at you. So I'm just going to give you a minute off instead, and we're going to move on.
A disturbing new report published in the last hour about Graham Plattner is shaking up the crucial U.S. Senate race in Maine. Politico has new bombshell reporting from a woman who dated Graham Plattner, who says Plattner forced her to have sex with him nearly 5 years ago, despite her repeated objections. From that reporting, the woman, a 41-year-old Maine resident named...
We can't go MAGA and just brush aside rape. What the fuck? No, I'm not saying we're brushing it aside. I'm not. What I'm saying is whether enough Mainers decide to brush it aside or not doesn't matter. It's over, right? Because it'll be a far too close of a race regardless. It would be far too close of a race with no guarantees of victory. As a matter of fact, a guarantee of defeat. Even if they were to fucking go beast mode and be like, I don't care, I don't support it. Like, this could be potentially like a pivot point, a turning point for the way that maybe we misunderstand like exactly how much appetite people have for change, that they don't even give a shit, right? So, the full CNN interview's out. Okay, we'll just watch that. So it doesn't, like, even if this is a turning point in the same way that like Candace Owens dropped a fucking bomb on Discourse when she came out and was like, Israel killed Charlie Kirk. And then everyone was like, oh my God, that's true. Like, even if this was a similar situation where it turns out Mainers don't give a fuck, it still doesn't matter because there's no shot he would win. Plattner is an example of both the failure of the Dem establishment to field a competent candidate and the consequences of progressive populism untethered from an organization like DSA that can responsibly vet and develop cadre candidates over years to run for office. Yeah, it's the truth of all time. It's the truth nuke. The Plattner situation is more the result of the Democratic Party trying to clear the field for Mills than anything else. There was such a demand for a progressive anti-Israel campaign that people look past the obvious flaws. Yeah. After one allegation, if that's true, then we can never win. Come on, man. It's not just one fucking baby allegation. It's not like he was... First of all, he had 1 million allegations, and there wasn't anything that reached the standard of rape until now, and that's one rape allegation, a credible rape allegation. That's, that's beyond the pale. It's totally beyond the pale. I've been saying this since the Nazi tattoo this is all the fault of those who plucked the jarhead out of thin air and slapped him onto a left populist platform conveyor belt. You want to know the real fucking crazy situation here? I think he's still like that's his real opinions. You have to remember, just because someone is in agreement with you and sees the world in the same way that you do doesn't mean that they're a good person. Like Like, I don't think his opinions are fake and he's just like playing the role of a left populist. I think that was genuinely him. I think if he didn't have the Blackwater, the totem cough, the fucking numerous PTSD related / drunk rape accusations, like, he would be a wonderful fucking candidate. Sorry, but insisting Plattner is just a normal guy who accidentally joined Blackwater and does locker room talk or whatever means you have quite a few Hitler particles and you should probably go get that checked out. Fucking Stephen King defending Plattner. Yeah, anyway, here, let's look at the Bulwark comment section. Jesus Christ. 50,000 more allegations and scandals that make it the president to be a cult. I guess he should have just gone for Secretary of War. By those standards, Trump should have been in jail 30 years already. I mean, Pete Hegseth is the fucking Secretary of War. Did you by any chance listen to what FD Signifier said about Plattner? He said he didn't understand why people like you were giving him so much spotlight and making him the face of the DSA is supposed to be. I never made him the face of the DSA. That's not true. And at most, I've made the faces of the DSA the actual faces of the DSA. What are you? That's not true. And I'm sure that that's not what FD Signifier said anyway. Anyway, it's a real knife fight for everyone to have a gotcha moment and a I told you so moment. For the fucking ultras, it's like, oh, well, you guys didn't see the real problems here. He was a war criminal baby eater. For the centrist Democrats, they obviously have their own personal opinions about his his sloppyism, as they would like to call it. It's a sequence of some of the worst people that are going to be gloating.
Describe your relationship with Graham Plattner as a very good example.
Dude, why is this? How come the Forbes videos always have this audio?
Of what modern dating is like.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is that, I think there's a lot of situationships. I think people are dating multiple people at the same time, whether that's known or not known by the people involved. So it was just a very common practice is what I viewed it as.
And kind of casual.
Yeah, very casual.
And when did you meet him and how did you meet him?
Met him on Bumble, actually, in 2019. And I had known who he was. He grew up in the next town over. We had like a mutual family friend, so I always knew of.
I don't understand what's happening. I thought Plattner was demolishing the polls. How does this change the calculation of the point of you saying it's over? Because he's running as a Democrat. If Graham Plattner was running as a Republican, it wouldn't matter. No one would give a shit. But he's running as a Democrat, and he's running against a woman too. And there's plenty of older Mainers that are going to hear a credible rape accusation and go, oh, I'm not voting for this fucking guy. Okay? And that's what matters. If he's in the margins, it's over. And that's just from the perspective of cold analysis, not even making a moral judgment about someone who has a credible rape allegation running for office as a Democratic Party defender, as a Bernie crowd, as a left populist, as a progressive. Okay? The reality of the matter is Democrats don't like rapists, whereas Republicans love rapists. It's that simple, simply put. And even if there are plenty of Democratic voters who would say, well, he's my guy because he cares about the things that I care about. He's, I'm still going to vote for him. It's not going to be enough to carry him across the finish line. It feels very fitting that whenever Left FC goes all the way with the macho white man strat, it actually works out for a while. 2022 Fetterman doing great. Plattner actually crushing it pre-allegations until it completely explodes and everyone dies forever. You can't be like, oh, damn, we were so close, we just got unlucky, because this is just the kind of stuff that happens when you run these kinds of outsiders. Maine voters will weigh the Trump Epstein against Plattner. I'm sure they will stick with Plattner. You're wrong. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think enough people in this coalition will drop out. And also the DS, and here's why it'll never work, because the Democratic Party has already dropped its support. I noticed that the DSCC was already not showing Graham Plattner even before this allegation. Okay? Do you understand? And without the DSCC, without like the institutional support, you have nothing. If you're going to rely on your progressive activist base, they're not going to fucking want to door knock for you, because now they're door knocking for a rapist. If the DSCC doesn't actually fucking defend him, who does he have? He has no one. Do you understand? If you're an anti-establishment candidate and the forces within the party are not defending you as an anti-establishment candidate, you need to have your populist support. Brother, would love you are centering Plattner a lot in this convo. I wonder why I'm doing that. Because we're talking about his fucking Senate run. Who am I supposed to center? I know it's a cool woke 1.0 for you to turn around and be like, well, why don't you center the victim in this conversation? Which I have for like the last 3 hours. But at some point, we're going to have to conduct analysis about the fucking race. What do you mean? Go rewind and watch the conversation that took place about the victim if you want to hear that perspective. But at some point I have to cover a different angle. It's insane. The DSCC will not invest in the Maine Senate race if Plattner remains on the ballot. It's a fucking wrap. The DSCC was already looking for any reason to pull the ripcord out, and this is more than enough reason. It's such such a valid reason that I'm in agreement with it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's fucking over. They are pressuring him to drop out so that they can replace it. Hopefully. What? Okay, but you're not offering an immediate substitute solution with progressive policies. Even if you condemn Plattner, you're unironically giving permission to his opponents. To his opponents, no, plenty of Dems in the Epstein files, by the way. Wait, what? I don't even know what point you were trying to make, man. I don't get it.
His existence, but that was when we actually met.
And what'd you think of him?
At first, I thought he was great. You know, he's very well spoken. He's intelligent. He's charming. You know, I thought a lot of good things. We had a great first date. It went and flowed really well.
He has described himself as self-medicating with alcohol.
Yeah.
He has described himself that way.
Yeah.
So I would think maybe that would have reared its head.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's something that I think a lot of people are desensitized to. In general, heavy drinking, and especially out of the relationship that I had just come out of. So it wasn't anything abnormal to me. I remember we were out one night and he was drinking, and that's when he told me that he has PTSD.
When the New York Times story came out, you were in it, but you didn't go as far in that story as you are today.
Yeah.
Why not?
I didn't want to. I didn't want to have to violate this huge level of privacy to my own life to be able to infer that this person is not honest and trustworthy. I felt really protective of my own privacy throughout this whole process. And it got to a point where my privacy was no longer going to happen. And that was when I kind of just made the decision that, like, I'm going to say my piece and get it out there. I had tried to give the impression that something, worse happened. And that's when it was like, I refused to comment further.
You definitely alluded to a bad night.
Yeah.
So bad that you never saw him again afterwards.
Yeah.
But just to underline the point, you're not coming forward because you have any political motivation.
No, not at all. That was actually one of the huge reasons that I didn't come forward and still struggled. Like, that was a huge moral conflict to feel like.
Because you'd like a Democrat to be in the Senate.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the things that he speaks about. They're important. They're important to people. I'm one of those people.
But at the end of the day, you feel he's not being honest.
He's not being honest, no.
And we should note, this is 2021 we're talking about. It's only 5 years ago. Tell me about that. When was it?
It was at the end of 2021. I remember it being shortly after I moved back into my winter home, because that is where it happened. And it was a night where him and I were texting back and forth, and he had taken something that I said as an invitation. And that's not how I meant it, and I quickly clarified. And he sent a message back indicating that he would come over, and I said, no, don't come over. Like, I'm not in the mood, don't come over. And I was more stern with that message. And then I didn't hear back from him. So I thought that meant he got the message or gave up on it or whatnot. And so like half an hour later, I heard a noise outside my door, and then he came in. He just came into my house. It was unlocked. I live in an area where you don't usually have to lock your doors. I do now. So he came in, and I realized, okay, he didn't listen. He's in my home. And
Yeah, that's actually a crazy take. Things are so bad in the U.S. that she was going to vote for her rapist. That's how fucking insane American politics is right now, because that's the other side. That she literally was like, I probably shouldn't come out about my credible rape accusation and maybe even might vote for my rapist because at least he's not a child rapist like the fucking president allegedly could be. American politics is now a sequence of insane decisions where on the one hand, you're like, well, do I want my rapist in office? Well, maybe he's going to be in support of Medicare for all. And he's anti-Israel, whereas the other side is also rapists, some of them defenders of child rape. So I guess we got to weigh the options, like which rape is the lesser evil. The lesser evil rape trolley problem. Which, by the way, ironically enough, if he was a fucking centrist establishment Democrat, the very same people that are doing victory laps right now would literally be sincerely telling you to vote for the lesser evil rapist. Just understand, that's the distinction between the left and people like fucking Neera Tanden who work for the Clintons, okay? That's the difference. They did this with Andrew Cuomo. They unironically looked at Zohran Mamdani and said, you got to vote for Andrew Cuomo, the cop rapist. What do you mean? Fast and free buses? Fuck no. He's Muslim. You got to vote for the cop rapist. Liberals will look at you dead in the eye and tell you this is a lesser evil rapist voter, and then turn around and act all high and fucking mighty. A certain flavor of Dem moderate couldn't wait even a day before turning this woman's harrowing story of being assaulted by a partner into a cudgel against anyone left of Chris Coons. What does any of this have to do with Michigan? Yeah. They're nasty little perverted freaks, by the way. They're cynical monsters. Just remember that.
I was laying on the couch. It was probably pretty late at night, and I was already ready for bed. I just wasn't in bed. And so he had kind of like jumped on top of me and indicated that he had intentions that were sexual in nature. And I remember just at first being like, hey, I'm not into this. Like, I'm not in the mood. Like, don't, whatever. And it got to the point where I was like, okay, I feel like I've said this enough times. Like, he's not listening to me or he's not hearing me. And I looked at him and I remember this very specific look in his eyes, and I could smell alcohol, and I was like, this is different. He is heavily intoxicated. Like, and that blank stare was kind of like a photographic memory that I still have of that night. And his, that was me recognizing what the situation was. And this wasn't just like, oh, hey, somebody showed up and I'm going to tell him to go home. Like, he was heavily intoxicated, had intentions with me, and wasn't listening when I said no. And
you were saying, no, don't, over and over.
I remember, obviously I've had to recall a lot of this. This is something that I tried for many years to forget. And so small details, might get past me. But yes, I remember very specifically saying, I'm not into this. In my message previously, I told him I had had an old back injury. And I remember saying, like,
yeah. Nia has officially won. She's the world historic goat of shamelessness, absolutely untoppable, the Michael Jordan of her craft. Say what you will, but the establishment of Vets Canada is you worked for Bill Clinton. What is this? Cushbomb came out with a hot take. We interrupt your smugness orgy to remind that Janet Mills' stable, reliable, conventional, impeccable pedigree, college educated, got fucking stomped 72% in the primaries. The unstable, unvetted, that's your brand. It fucking sucks dick. It's true. God, people fucking hate the Democratic establishment. These guys only running victory laps like this is probably going to draw more enmity. It's just crazy that they're like, they think they have any leg to fucking stand on. I mean, yeah, Jake Tapper, this is his moment too. Fetterman calls Bernie to apologize. Oh, fuck you, John Fetterman, you fucking animal.
Like, I'm not in this. I've had a long day. My back hurts. Like I was in that kind of mood, like the leave me alone mood. And there was a little bit of like scuffle, like altercation. The house that I live in has like this antique sewing kit that I kept beside the couch, and that got knocked over. He like backed into it, or something was maybe pushed into it by me, or something happened in that moment, and that thing got spilled. And
do you remember pushing him away?
I remember potentially pushing away with my legs, like, and then as he backed into it, it spilt, and all of the sewing needles and tape and yarn and everything went everywhere. Everything had fallen onto the floor, and in that moment, I evaluated my safety. Like, a drunk person who's blackout drunk is in my home, has these intentions with me, has already caused this amount of destruction and not listening to me. And so I basically felt safe as just complying.
You normally use protection.
Yeah.
And this time he didn't.
No.
And you didn't want that.
No.
And he didn't care.
No, I don't think my words were falling on deaf ears or drunk ears.
And you were still saying, don't do this, or I'm not into this?
I remember specifically him like grabbing at my chest, and I like hit his hand and I said, don't touch me. And I remember that during the altercation specifically.
Then he kept going.
Yeah, and it was this weird mix of like coming in and out of, I don't think consciousness is the word, but like coming to and kind of falling back into that drunken, I don't know what I'm doing state. And yeah, and he would apologize in those moments and then go back to doing what he was doing.
So he was aware that he was doing something wrong,
yeah,
and saying sorry.
I feel like he was, in moments.
Is there any way that he thought this was consensual, or no? Just because...
I don't believe that you can think that that scenario was consensual. You have to you have to understand that that wasn't when somebody is repeatedly, I mean, when somebody in the middle of it says, don't touch me, like, that's obviously not consensual.
Especially if he's apologizing on occasion.
Yeah. Yeah. And that next
Where did the ultras come in on this? Are they supporting Plattner now that you aren't? No, the ultras are fucking running victory laps because they don't give a shit about anything. They're just like excited. Well, to be fair, they're correct at the end of the day. They were correct about his fucking Graham Plattner red flags. Obviously, this was an unbelievable. Whether their analysis was based on, no, I'm good, thank you. Whether their analysis was based on, mischaracterizations or exaggerations, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, Graham Plattner is credibly accused of rape. And these guys fucking hated him. Even if they landed on it because they hate every single veteran or whatever the fuck, it doesn't matter. They were right about Graham Plattner. Their overemphasis on his red flags or their hyper focus on, or their channeling of like Israeli propaganda at times doesn't mean anything because it's the same as like Jake Tapper and all these other fucking dipshits. Now, their focus is directed at myself instead of like, people who actually campaigned or interviewed Plattner or offered a lot more coverage to Plattner because that's more so just like the fuck us on tip, which is fine. I'll take it. I don't give a shit. At the end of the day, do I have any issues saying the truth about my assessment? I gave you what my skepticism was, and I will continue doing the same exact commentary as I have done so far. I'll tell you when there's certain things that I find to be red flags. And at the end of the day, I will leave it up to you to make the assessment on whether or not he's worthy of voting for if you live in Maine. If you ask me, is Graham Plattner a better option than Susan Collins or than Janet Mills? Yeah, with the information that I had at the time, I would say that absolutely. Will you still interview Plattner? Buddy, it was Plattner that did not want the interview. Do I miss the Denver torta? I do. I do miss that torta. It was delicious.
warning.
Much respect to Chris Robb, FD Signifier, and Sean the Black.
So after everything ended, I ran to the bathroom, which is just beside my bedroom. And I was in there for a while and just trying to like comprehend things. Like,
were you crying? Were you?
I honestly I don't think I was crying. I was like more in shock and yeah, just trying to understand like what had just happened. Especially like this is a person I have known and have trusted and have had very consensual relationships with, like, all along until it wasn't. And so that was a really hard thing to understand, that this was a person I trusted. And so I spent a little bit of time in the bathroom, and when I came back out, he was asleep in my bed. And at that point, I didn't know what my options were. Like, obviously, I don't want this person in my house. And when I, earlier had realized how drunk he was, I knew that he had driven over that way. Like, I'm surprised he made it to my house. And if I woke him up and sent him home, like, I am now making the decision to put somebody that drunk on the road.
The echoes from their end, not mine.
And I didn't want to live with the fact that, like, if he got into an accident or hurt somebody else. And I remember thinking that I could tell him to leave, and I could call the police immediately, and I could at least get him caught for drunk driving. So I was like, I'm going to let him sleep, and the second he wakes up, I'm going to tell him to leave. And so he slept. I lay there in like a state of panic all night, and I remember turning on, I have like one of those noise machines that you sleep with, and I turn it on ocean waves, and I'm like, I'll just try to meditate. And it didn't work. So in the morning, he woke up, and he went to go put his arm around me, and I was like, whoa. And realizing this person doesn't know that what happened wasn't okay. And so I remember taking his arm and throwing it back at him, and I said, are you fucking serious, Graham? And he's like, what? And I'm like, do you not remember what happened last night? He's like, no. And I'm like, okay, I need you to get dressed and leave and never talk to me again. Like, nothing that happened was okay. And he did. He just got up and got dressed and left and didn't seem concerned.
He didn't ask you.
He didn't ask me a single question. And I mean, in the moment, I was like not wanting to talk about it anyway, so maybe I felt fine about that in the moment. But like, I was still like, how can somebody that you've been in a, you know, some type of a relationship with for this long tells you to never speak to you again about something that you did, and you didn't even ask what you did. So he left. He didn't talk to me, and I waited a couple weeks because I knew that with what had happened, I could have gotten pregnant, and I wanted to wait and to make sure that that wasn't the case. And so I waited until that happened, and I sent him kind of like a final send-off message. And
What did it say?
I remember a few pieces of it, and I remember saying that like nothing that happened that night was okay or consensual. And I waited on Instagram. You see when it says seen, and so I gave it a couple days. It said that it was seen, and I still didn't hear back out. And at that point, I blocked him on everything. I deleted his number. I blocked and deleted his like text phone number as well, because text and Instagram are, I think, the two ways that we had communication. And I've never heard from him since.
He posted a comment on Reddit about a video promoting underwear designed to prevent rape. And he wrote, quote, "Rape is a real thing. If you're so worried about it to buy Kevlar underwear, you'd think you might not get blacked out, fucked up around people you aren't comfortable with."
Right.
What did you think when you saw that?
I thought, here's a man who was drunk and who, by dictionary definition, raped me, and he's blaming drunk women. So I just felt like that was a very odd take to have on that. And I also feel like with all of the comments that he made about women, sexual assault, rape, even, you know, the comments that he had made that was in the New York Times article about, you know, threatening people with rape, like, why does this person have this issue, like, scattered throughout their life, throughout their commentary, like it's on their mind?
Come on, man.
And why do they have such a strong opinion about women coming forward with allegations? Like, I just feel like this isn't the first time.
I know that you have been very reluctant to tell this story.
Yeah.
Very reluctant. Why did you ultimately decide to do it? Why come forward?
A few reasons. One of the biggest ones is that I think that there are a lot of men in this world relying on the silence of women and to be where they are. And I don't want to contribute to that. I also want to just get my life back.
There are going to be people, maybe even his campaign, certainly his supporters, who say this is politically motivated. What would you say to that?
I couldn't disagree more. That was actually one of the reasons that I didn't come out.
Because you agree with his
it.
politics.
I do. I really agree with his politics. I think we need somebody with those political stances and who are willing to do the work. And you know, I see his political videos. They get me fired up as well. I understand why people want someone like him in office. You know, and I felt like me coming forward.
That's fucking insane. Like, think about it. Think about it. That's her rapist. And because his political perspective is such a breath of fresh air in comparison to what is normally fielded, that she's literally saying, like, my rapist, I seriously contemplated voting for him. This is what I was saying earlier. It's like lesser evil rapist is the choice people are being forced to make now.
Would essentially potentially take that away, and I felt really uncomfortable with the responsibility of and the weight of my story and what that might do.
When people hear this from you, are you saying you should not vote for him because of what happened?
I'm not going to go as far as to say that. I'm just here to tell my story, to give a clearer picture of who he is and the type of past that he has. And I just think it's fair to the democratic process to let people know who they're voting for.
This has obviously been very difficult for you to talk about for 5 years. And even when you're telling the story, you don't use the word.
Yeah.
So let me just be, and I apologize, let me be as direct as I can. Did Graham Plattner rape you?
By definition, yes. Absolutely.
Because he had non-consensual sex with you,
Yeah.
forced himself on you, even after you had told him no and fought him off.
Yeah. He violated multiple layers of consent that night by coming into my home when I asked him not to, and by advancing on me when I told him not to, and furthermore, another incident that I had told him not to do. And
With protection.
yeah. So, yeah. By the way that my nervous system reacted to this experience, absolutely.
There are going to be Democrats who say, I believe you, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm going to vote for him anyway. Because we need a progressive voice.
Jake. Oh my God. Brother, a little bit of fucking care and consideration for a rape victim. Holy shit. God damn. Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. Like, this is your moment to be like, fuck this anti-Zionist guy, fuck this guy who's critical of Israel. But shit, Jesus Christ. No tact, dude. No care or consideration to be like, hey, a lot of people are gonna fucking yell at you, by the way, just so you know. I've seen the way you ask sensitive questions to people. It's wild to me that people like Jake are considered journalists while you're not. I mean, it's fucking nuts, dude. Jesus Christ.
The United States Senate. Are you going to be okay with that? Are you going to be able to handle that? I'm not saying it's the right answer or the right response, but
No.
That's crazy.
Oh, I have friends who feel that way, and that's been a hard pill to swallow. And I guess I need to not ask potentially. Maybe I need to not ask in order to not care what they do. I understand. I understand that the state of our political environment is so much so that we need a lot of change. And he's offering that change. And, you know, I'm not mad at anyone who has voted for him all along. If he wasn't who he was, I would be voting for him as well. And going forward, I don't know what's going to happen.
There's something you said that I just want to find out more about. You said he was forcing himself on you. It was getting violent. You were pushing him off. You were kicking him off. Needles and sewing equipment was falling all over. And walk us through the process where you decided that the safest thing you could do was just
Am I being crazy, or is this not very sensitive at all? Like the way he's dealing with this very delicate and very traumatic situation. Am I like, they should have got, I mean, not to be the super woke here, but they probably should have gotten a woman to maybe handle this line of questioning. Even Dana Bash would do a better job than Jake, and she's just as pro-Israel as Jake is. It's kind of it's like unbelievably insensitive the way he's like walking through these questions is not delicate at all. He's like, yeah, a lot of people are still going to vote for this guy. How does that make you feel? Huh? Here are all of the visual graphic details of your worst night ever that took place. I'm going to walk you through it again. Plattner might not drop because of internal polls. Graham Plattner has not made a decision on whether to drop out according to a person. Yeah, those internal polls are going to look like fucking dog water after this media cycle ends.
let him rape you.
Yeah, I had never been in that situation before, and I remember it being an instant where I had recognized that he wasn't listening to me. It wasn't just that he wasn't hearing me or whatnot. And then I recognized his level of intoxication, and I knew in that moment I wasn't safe. And I don't think I was safe to physically fight back. He's big, he's strong. And I just had to evaluate my safety and come up with the least worst outcome to this situation. And so I felt like complying for my safety was the least worst option.
But that's not consenting.
No, complying is not consenting.
Complying is letting him rape you.
Is getting it over with.
Oh my God! Oh my God, Jake Tapper! Oh my God! I have never seen a rape victim be interviewed in such a gross manner. What the fuck? Holy shit, dude. This is like this is shit that should be taught in journalism school of what not to do ever. I can't tell if he's like trying to actively get tears out of her or something. Like, I don't. Yeah, with an interview like this, you'd think Jake was a Plattner surrogate. Like the way he's fucking, like I know his perspective, right? I know his perspective, so I know that he's not trying to attack her. But the way that he is questioning her literally almost comes across like he is a Plattner surrogate trying to attack her. And I assume the reason why he's doing it is because he's clip baiting so fucking hard. He wants a clip so bad that he's getting immensely more invasive than he should be. And he's framing these questions in the grossest way I've ever heard a male journalist handle the topic of straightforward sexual assault, just straightforward rape.
So that he didn't hurt you even more?
I don't know what this person is capable of. I don't think anybody does. And even people you know for years and trust, you don't know the depths of what they're capable of. And
You were afraid for your safety.
yeah, I was afraid for my safety.
Beyond, not that rape isn't a horrific thing, but beyond
Right.
rape.
I didn't want to find out how.
Yes, he's a combat veteran, man. A drunk combat veteran who broke into her fucking house. Like, what the fuck? I guess he's just trying to get her to say, like, yes, I was scared for my life. But it is actually incredible. It is actually incredible that the words "you let him rape you" came out of his fucking mouth. Like, am I too woke? I don't know, man. Am I being too woke here? I feel like this is unacceptable. Like he dropped it twice, not once. This is going to sound crazy, but I think he's trying to make Plattner sound worse. Yeah, I mean, he's already maximum bad. But it's just crazy that, like, there's a center called DART that teaches trauma-informed journalism. This is going against everything they stand for. Yeah. Anyway, this is not going to go anywhere, obviously. No one is ever going to fucking criticize Jake Tapper's horrifying interview, the way that he's, like, so unbelievably invasive. His career is set, especially after the Ellison purchase, but well, like, if you're a rape victim and you see this interview, you're probably gonna be like, I don't want to fucking come out. That's nuts. I mean, even if you don't care about the individual that you're doing this like invasive line of questioning on and potentially re-traumatizing, this is literally like a warning sign to virtually every potential rape victim to never say anything, because she's handling it with a lot more grace and a lot better than most people would. Certainly I would. But a lot of other people that see this are most likely not going to see the same takeaway. They're going to think, what the fuck? Horrible.
Unsafe I could get that night, or how harmed I could be that night.
I know this is probably one of the toughest things you've had to do in your life, so I just want to thank you for trusting us and sitting down with us.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you guys being here to do this and to help share these stories very kindly and delicately.
Okay, if you say so. Definitely not very delicately and kindly. Very different assessment I got out of that. All right, let's see what the rest of the CNN is.
Gain of 4 seats to go from the minority party to the majority party in the United States Senate. And
Yeah, this is, so someone in the chat said, I'm a sexual assault survivor, just how police question you about it. And I don't mean that as a compliment. Yeah.
Collins, the Republican incumbent, is the only Republican running for re-election in a state that Kamala Harris won in 2024. So this is supposed to be one of the top-tier targets to have Democrats start making their build towards the potential 4 flips that they would need as a net gain to win the majority. Without Maine, if Susan Collins is to win re-election here, this becomes a much, much tougher climb for Democrats to win the majority.
David Jellian, thanks very much. Just ahead, what our political team.
Your political strategy is either a failure or purposely misleading. It's sad that you will never, ever feel the consequences of that failure. Are you talking to me? You're fed, bro. Americans getting treats, nobody else getting anything. Do you ever think that people just don't care about sound argument anymore? You're going to get more people on your side? Does YouTube notify you of threats people post? 53-month subscriber. First starts noticing people saying hateful things about me, then becomes the hateful person. Classic story. Went from seeing negative videos about me to believing the things that they saw in the negative videos and becoming the person. Incredible. So bizarre. Because you're mean as fuck, the chatter's law? Sure. I would love for you to hear people out a little more. Out of context chats. Okay, you said your political strategy is either a failure or purposely misleading. It's sad that you will never feel the consequences of that failure. What is the out of context over there? Ukraine Stalin person DM'd on Discord. Seems to have not been around the past few days. Willing to give the benefit of the doubt. They're caught arguing with this shit again. Easy perma. I'm cool as fuck to my chatters. It's true. From 2024 to 2025, they used to be normal. Ukraine is cooked either way. I don't think there's any recovery for us anytime soon. I don't see much light at the end of the tunnel for Ukraine, unfortunately. Between family and friends, I only notice 2 categories of people. Those who want to leave the country and reactionary right-wingers who want to draft everyone possible and fight till the last person. 53-month subscriber. How did this happen? Yeah, Democratic Party entryism. Why don't you support third parties? Oh my God, dude, stop. Okay, for your sake, we're not going to cover this right now. Please.
When you call with your credit card, we will send you this.
If Plattner drops out, a well-placed source inside the main Democratic Party is considering running a second state convention, nominating delegates, and having the delegates elect the new Democratic Senate candidate. Got hit with a BE beam. Yeah, it's like such a crazy moment to say this, by the way, especially considering that it's like, this is like, I mean, not even the bad empanada shit, but like the DSA is cooking right now. Like Graham Plattner is not a DSA affiliated candidate at all. I didn't go out and personally endorse Graham Plattner. I didn't go out to like campaign with him. There are candidates that I do campaign with, right? And you know them. You know the candidates I campaign with. You see them on the broadcast. I never fundraised for him. They wouldn't even grant me an interview, to be fair, which I wanted to early on. After they saw some of my scrutiny, they shied away from it. I talked about it. They're still going to say he's a DSA candidate regardless. Yeah, Plattner's not endorsed or affiliated with the DSA. The main chapter of DSA independently recommended him as a part of their June 9th voter guide, but that is after Mills suspended her campaign and it notably held him at decent arm's length. If you were to say, you have defended the principle of saying that not all vets are fucking baby killers or we should be treating them in the same way, then yeah, I still defend those principles. If you were to say, I don't like that you said that Graham Plattner is a better candidate than Janet Mills or Susan Collins, then yeah, no, I disagree with that assessment as well. Given the information that we had at the time, and clearly for the perspective of the Mainers, he was that candidate. So what the fuck do you want me to do? Lie to you? I'm not going to do that. I don't know what Bernie's going to do. I don't know if he's going to rescind his endorsement. I assume he will, but who knows?
In the detail she has and the way that she has and is making it up. I mean, her statements are completely credible, and it is incumbent on everyone to believe what she is saying, and it is incumbent on Graham Plattner to get out of this race immediately, and then I hope he is prosecuted to the fullest extent of the Maine law.
And Alyssa, based on what you've seen, do you think the response so far to this is markedly different than previous?
It is markedly different. You know, a number of prominent Democrats have asked for him to step aside, but I want to know why. I knew the first accuser, who did not accuse him of sexual assault, but of domestic violence that came forward in the New York Times. She was a longtime GOP operative. She's somebody I've worked with, but that does not make her allegations any less credible. I don't know why that wasn't the line. I don't know why the Nazi tattoo wasn't. I don't know why demeaning Purple Heart recipients, homophobic slurs, racist and bigoted slurs on his Reddit posts weren't enough. When politics becomes winning at all costs, we end up with the worst people in office. And I think this is what we are running into. Democrats did not do their due diligence in vetting this man. And now their path to the Senate looks significantly bleaker because they went all in on this man.
Which people had raised that concern about the vetting. The flip side of it is, you know, if you want candidates who are quote unquote authentic,
He went
Authentically what?
He went to an elite prep school, but kind of masquerades as a working man. Like, this isn't even that authentic of a guy. This is what I think, and I've seen it happen on the right to some degree. This is what happens when the base of a party sometimes takes over the establishment and they want to burn it to the ground. This is a man who's dabbled in anti-Semitic tropes. He has gone. I struggle to find things to defend him at this point, yet most of the establishment stood beside him. And Democrats, one of their strongest arguments they want to make going into the midterms is it's about character, it's anti-corruption, it's about getting the Epstein files out. When you're standing by a man who's been accused of these things, you can't make that case as credibly.
Scott, if Plattner does decide to step aside, do you think the Maine Democratic Party will be able to nominate someone new without alienating former Plattner supporters? How do you see it?
Well, that's a great question, because it's something that Alyssa said. I agree, by the way, with everything Alyssa said. She raised all the correct issues and said this is what they had signed on to. The only thing I disagree with is when she said that he hadn't been vetted. No, he had been vetted. All of the things that have been stated, it was all out in the public. And people like Ro Khanna, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Tim Walz, the Bulwark, Pod Save America, all these people came together to overlook it all, to explain it all, to rationalize it all. He was vetted. People knew all these things. And a whole bunch of Democrats in Maine showed up and voted for him anyway. And a bunch of donors from around the country sent him money anyway. I agree with Alyssa's question. What changed? Why are you bailing on Graham Plattner now? You already signed off on Nazi tattoo, a self-described communist, somebody who's had rape fantasies, somebody who has been on a social media platform known as a playground for predators, and on and on and on and on and on. And the difference between this accuser And the previous one is simply this. She's a liberal. It's okay, I guess, for Democrats that their candidates assault conservatives. But he broke into someone's house and apparently, according to her, raped her. And because her politics are correct, they can now believe it. All of this whole thing is disgusting. But to say that they hadn't vetted him or that they didn't know about all this is totally false. They knew it and they signed up for it. And I don't know why they're backing away from this scumbag today when they had already signed off on all that other crazy behavior.
Christine, what do you say to that?
I mean, look, there's not a lot to defend in this scenario in Maine right now. You know, I'd like to think that they didn't do a good vetting, right? I'd like to think that folks didn't know all of this in the way that Scott said, that things came out as revelations as it moved forward. You know, the kind of looking back on this very, very soon, I hope will give us the answers to that question
I
about
hate this piece
whether
of shit.
there was vetting and how deep
Scott
it was.
Jennings.
But, you know,
You're a Trump supporter, man. You're a Trump supporter. You're a fucking Trump supporter. What are you talking about? Oh my God, I can't believe he did a rape. Like, what do you, oh, really? I can't believe you support Trump. The fuck do you mean? You're an Epstein affiliate defender. The fuck is this bullshit? Yeah, calls for Plattner to drop from Schumer, Gillibrand, Warren, Slotkin, Kelly, Booker, Schiff, Ro Khanna, Gallego, Markey, DSCC, Vote Vets, and Citizens United, Senate Majority PAC. Everyone's calling for him to drop out. Plattner aid list items, list terms for dropping out. If he was to step down, it would only be a guarantee of being replaced by a candidate who he believes is the true values and vision of policy agenda the campaign Maine voted for. Oh no, people are going to say he's in no position to make these. Oh God, I hope the fucking. I mean, I know what he's trying to do, and I don't disagree with this. I think it's the right thing to do. It's the Democratic thing to do. But it's just the DNC is going to fucking use this as an opportunity to be like, fuck you. You don't get to have a say on here. You're a rapist. Oh, no. Dems are going to do everything in their fucking power to make sure that there isn't a fucking anti-Zionist in that position, a pro-Medicare for all guy in that position. There's no shot. Some context regarding this. The ambitious corner-cutting Bernie crap political strategists cracking up when asked how they vetted Plattner have a history of unprincipled, reckless rush recruitment and campaigning, the dangers of left sloppyism. Yeah, I don't care about left sloppyism, okay? I don't know how these guys found Graham Plattner. Like, I think that there were plenty of fucking red flags, including the chest tattoo, that should have been enough for them to see, because it was on his Instagram page. What is this? I've been telling you to stop putting all of our eggs in one basket. Whose eggs? What basket? Who are you guys talking to? You're making it seem like Graham Plattner was the fucking president of the Democratic Socialists of America or something. What is this? Where are the eggs and what is the fucking basket, dude? Who is this? Is this bait? Oh my God, he was literally baiting. He literally was baiting. Hassan, I've been telling you for weeks that it was a bad idea to put all of our eggs in the basket of someone like Plattner. Chatters don't even know that even though there are no ads at the top of the hour, they can still subscribe for $5 or for free. God damn it. There are so many blue-collar progressives out there. There was really no need to settle on this guy. Okay, guys, I need you to understand something. You get a fucking combat vet with that background. This is, you know, there's a likelihood that this could happen, okay? Not to say all combat vets are like this, right? But yeah, you get a guy who's not, who hasn't like spent every waking moments at the age of 7 running for president. And yes, of course, I just didn't think it would be this fucking bad. It sucks because, yes, Plattner's progressivism should not be usurped by establishment Dems handpicking the nominee, but I also think it's a real stain for him to handpick as a replacement. Whoever replaces him should stay away from any association with Plattner with a 1,000-foot pole, which is going to be hard while retaining the progressivism. There's something really funny about this, by the way. There's people going like, has Hassan endorsed a communist yet? And it's like, dog, brother, do you think this is now officially going to make the American Communist Party the most viable alternative at a time when a non-DSA affiliated candidate who's a left populist has been outed as a rapist that has nothing to do with the DSA at all? Like, what does that have to do with what we have been doing? What does that have to do with what we've been doing? Republicans are just going to lie. I know. Kevin McCarthy on Plattner allegations. That one thing I know about Republicans is when we had a very bad candidate, we didn't vote for that person. We walked away. Doors open. He was a host on the network you're currently speaking at. Like, what planet are these fucking guys on, dude? Anyone with anything to lose and no incentive to be honest will just quit. That's why the truth matters. It takes forever, apparently. Yeah. Dennis Hastert is the longest running Speaker of the House, and he was a out and about pedophile. Prolific pedophile. Like, we can't, the pedo games is not, it only goes in one way. It only goes in one direction, and it's the Republican grand old pedophile party. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Troy Jackson is someone who has spent his life standing up for these progressive values. The movement is about standing for Medicare for all, opposing foreign wars, and getting money out of politics. Wokeism on CNN.
This idea that it's far left for us to have some form.
Hold on. I'm not in the mood for that right now. Yeah, it's all pedo rapist admin. It's fucking nuts that they're doing this.
Currency, as you probably have heard, President Trump raked in 630.
Yeah, and the fucking administration. The administration is so corrupt, so unbelievably fucking corrupt, dude. I hate this shit so much. Ay, ay, ay. DSA posted about it. DSA did not post about it. Socialist news media did, and I don't know who this campaign or this account belongs to, but you know, the main DSA supported Troy Jackson's campaign for governor. If Plattner drops out, we have the opportunity to elect the new DSA senator out of nowhere. I mean, he's not wrong. Abdul also weighed in. Yes, he said, credible allegations of sexual assault cannot be ignored. Voters in Maine deserve a choice for U.S. Senate that doesn't force them to make a moral compromise between sexual violence and corporate servitude. Anyway, yeah, calls mom for Plattner to end campaign after rape accusation. Graham Plattner, a Democratic nominee for Senate for Maine, said he was taking time to reflect on his political path forward as his support was swiftly eroded after a woman accused him of rape. In a video posted on social media, Plattner called the account false, even as he acknowledged the threat it posed to his candidacy in a tight race that could determine the control of the Senate in November. Regardless of the inaccuracy of the reporting, but mindful of political reality it will inflict, we are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward. It was not immediately clear whether Mr. Plattner intended to continue his campaign against Senator Susan Collins, a Maine Republican. He has until July 13th to withdraw from the race, and if he does, the state Democratic Party has until July 27th to replace him on the ticket, according to Maine state law. The leadership of the state party urged him to where is it? The leadership of the state party urged him to withdraw. Both parties see Maine as a key to battle control of the Senate. The prominent Democrats withdrew their endorsements after the allegations surfaced. Senate Democratic campaign arm, which had opposed Plattner in the primary, called for him to quit the race. Graham Plattner needs to immediately withdraw. The fact that the source here is even throwing out if he were to step down hypothetical is proof that it is already over and it's just a matter of posturing for the Troy Jackson handoff. Yeah. Any chance it's all fake? No. Dude. In order for this to be a fake...